Okay, Ashok Leyland came out with its numbers yesterday, a top-line growth of 25%, profit growth of almost 37%. But let's try to get in more details in terms of what exactly happened and what the management is looking forward into the quarters going ahead. We're joined by Gopal Mahadevan. He's the CFO of the company. Mr. Mahadevan, thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg Quint. First of all, one of the things that we want to talk about is how input cost will change because raw material costs are remaining at elevated levels. How soon do you believe that this will subside? Are you taking any kind of price hike, or will you be passing on the cost to the consumers going ahead?
Well, I think we expect, and let's hope that steel prices cool off in the second half. There is an expectation generally that the steel prices are going to come off a bit. If that happens, that's good for the industry and certainly for Ashok Leyland. As far as price hikes are concerned, I think we have been the only company that has been possibly raising prices, in the last 2 quarters. And our strategy is not just price hike. I think our strategy is to grow and grow profitably. So I think we'll have to ensure that we keep gaining our share of business in the market. So we need to, just like we've done, if you notice in the second quarter, the market, the total industry has grown at 26%, whereas we have grown at 32%, and our revenues have grown at 25%, and our PAT has grown at 38%, as you mentioned. So, we have been able to do both. I mean, grow profitably as well as grow in our share. That is our strategy. I mean, our strategy is not profits or growth. I think both are important. And for that, I think there's a confluence of strategies that we have to use, not just pricing, but also to look at products, look at expanding our network, which has grown 10x over the last 6-7 years. Providing service appropriately and innovation in the product. So our latest launch of InnoLine, which happened on August 15th, possibly the only BS4 engine with a manual pump, I think it could augur well for the company and for customers because the total cost of ownership will be far, far lower. We did that last year also. We were the first player and the only player to have launched EGR technology for BS4, which went down very well. And today we have competition following that as well. So I think that there's a confluence of strategy that we'll have to use to kind of win in the market.
So how are you seeing discounting trends moving ahead in the market? What we've seen is that discounts are rising in the CV market. What's your view on that, and in terms of what's your outlook there?
Yeah, I think, that's rather unfortunate if you really ask me, for a market which has been growing at 26% in the quarter, and it is 48% for the half year. So why is anything being discounted? I don't know. Well, but it's a marketplace, and we have to compete there in the marketplace. So discounts, you're right, have been going higher. I hope that this trend reverses as we move forward, because there is no reason to be increasing discounts. Sell products at reasonable prices and ensure growth and, grow profitably. I don't know why discounting has to be done, but it is continuing. So hopefully it will abate in the second half.
So how have export markets performed for you, given that, there is a lot of volatility, be it, political situations or how the currency has been fluctuating right from Middle East right up to Sri Lanka? How do you see export markets going ahead now?
See, I think in the short term, we have seen that, the exports have not performed as we wanted it to. So we have seen a degrowth in the export in the current quarter. But that's also for the reasons that you rightly said. Sri Lanka has its challenges. Middle East is having a lot of uncertainty around it. And, the African exports are more timing based. So we'll have to wait for customers to ask us to invoice. There is some lumpy invoicing that happens. But in the medium term, let me tell you that we see a great product fit in some of the markets that we are targeting. So aside of our traditional markets, which is Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Middle East, we also see a great product fit in some of the countries in Africa. And I think there's a lot of growth that we can achieve there. Of course, you can't expect this thing to happen overnight. That's why we've been saying that international revenues, growth in international revenues is one of our key strategies to devolatize the company. So this is very, very important to us. At a later point, we'll also grow into Southeast Asia and possibly South America. And the other exciting bit is that we have an exciting product portfolio in LCV as well. Today, I think we have a product range which is making us more complete to compete in the international markets. So you would see a radical change in the way we are rolling out our international strategy over the next few years.
So let's talk about the festive demand, because most of the other companies that we've spoken to have indicated it's been a slow start for them this festive season. Is it a similar case that you're looking at?
Well, I'm not. See, I'll have to wait for the month. A month is too young for me to even comment, because this is an industry where the entire volume for some mysterious reason happens in the last 3-4 days. In fact, more so in the last 2 days. I think a lot of this to tie up with the financing and stuff like that. Let's wait and watch. But I think the industry has grown pretty smartly. If you ask me, for the first 2 quarters, the YTD volume growth has been, first 6 month volume growth has been 48%, which is not small. And of course, third and fourth quarter, especially fourth quarter, can hold some growth potential also. So we'll have to wait and watch how the year pans out. But even if it were flat, assuming it's flat, even then for a full year, I think the industry would have grown at about 12 to 15%.
Okay.
Which is how we started the year with. But we didn't expect this huge growth happening in Q1 and Q2. Of course, there was a base effect. Let us wait and watch how Q3 and Q4 pans out.
Okay, and my final question, sir, how's the defense-related business panning out? Where are the new orders and tenders coming in from?
I think, we have been very successful in almost clinching all the critical and pertinent defense orders in the country, and almost all of them. So what we now are waiting for is for the orders from the government to start the shipment. So once that happens, you actually will see a growth in our defense revenues aside of the VFJ kits that we supply. So, that's another very good, long-term strategy, because defense, is like an annuity business. Once you get inside and you get into, get the confidence of, I would say the MOD and the government, you actually see a, steady orders intake, which actually stabilizes the company's revenues, which is exactly what has happened with VFJ. We are Stallion and Super Stallions. I think we are more than 70,000 or 75,000 of them. Very huge, large army of those vehicles that providing support to our army in the most critical and crucial times, as well as in weather conditions. So, it's very important for us to pursue this, and this is another very important strategy for the company, to ensure that we start growing the defense business. But then you must remember that winning tenders is, half the battle won. The second part is for the orders to come in so that we can start shipments.
Okay, sir, and before we end, just a word on the change of guard that's going to happen. There's going to be a change of guard. Mr. Dasari will be resigning in a while. How do you look at the management change going ahead?
Well, I think Vinod has been, leading the company for the past so many years, and, we will certainly miss him. But he is there till end of March. But I think the company has also grown, from, 5 years ago. I remember when I joined the company, it was about 9,500 crores. Today, we are at 27 to 30,000 crores. Very stable. It's very broad-based. We have a solid management team, and I think the culture has also been to ensure that it fosters independent decision making and also collective collaboration. And then we must also remember that Mr. Dheeraj Hinduja, our chairman, has decided to play a slightly, more involved role in this. He has become executive chairman, and his counsel will also be available aside of Vinod's, if the management needs to look up to any particular decision that requires their attention. So I don't see any impact per se. I think that our strategies and plans are very clearly carved out. And we will continue to roll on those initiatives as planned.
Okay, Mr. Mahadevan, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg Quint about the company numbers and the outlook going ahead.